Hey everyone, something a little bit different today. We are shifting gears and putting on I have a great passion for the outdoors, but perhaps I have a greater passion for being out on the West Coast, bouncing around the Gulf Islands and areas beyond. And one of the topics that is absolutely critical, having spent a number of years in the Canadian Air Force, working in search and rescue, was in a support role, is safety on the water, and that starts with wearing a life jacket. And it's a real pleasure for me to introduce Shane Paleshi. He is the owner operator of Indie Marine, and we are going to talk about PFDs, life jackets. Shane, first of all, thanks so much for taking some time and chatting with us today.
Thanks, Michael. Look forward to having this discussion.
So let's get into it a little bit before we get into sort of the why we should be wearing these things. Let's talk a little bit about your journey. You're an independent distributor, and you've really keyed in on a particular brand of life jacket out of the UK. How did that come together?
So my wife and I are both avid sailors, and we've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, as many of us have this last year, and we've been watching for many years. And we were looking for something that would protect us while we're out in the water on our sailboat. And one of the things that kept creeping up in our research was that if you fall overboard on your boat, you're often tethered to the boat, particularly when you're out on storms. But that tether is actually it holds you on close to the boat, but unfortunately, it also drags you face forward through the water. Even if you have an inflatable PFD or if you're wearing a full PFD, you're getting pulled by this thing through the water face first. And there have been a number of drownings related to that, and I just thought there's got to be something better. So turns out that there's a company in the UK that thought the same thing, and unfortunately, their impetus was they had a friend of theirs who unfortunately passed away during a race. He fell overboard. 16 minutes later, his friends pulled him out, and he wasn't alive anymore, which was unfortunate. So they've come up with a new system that essentially you fall in the water, the jacket inflates, and then you pull this back toe strap, and then the anchor point moves from the front of your jacket. So instead of being pulled face forward through the water by your boat, it now rotates and starts pulling you upright and backwards. So now all the water is coming from the back of your head. So it allows you to breathe. You're not being pushed into the water face forward. And I just thought this was a really clever design. And so I reached out to the manufacturer to buy them in North America, and they didn't have a distributor. And so we decided to distribute the product, and that's now led to us now seeking other European and UK based products to bring to North America.
So let's just chat about the requirement to have a life jacket. I mean, obviously, that is if you're operating a boat, even a paddleboard, you should have a life jacket on of some description. Yet some 338 Canadians last year failed to do that. And when it's such an easy, now not all of those drownings, of course, taking place in a boat, about 9% I believe are ocean related. Lots of streams, lots of ponds, again, people in a boat, that type of thing, maybe being falling overboard. When we get into that kind of scenario where it is preventable, it really, you got to scratch your head a bit, eh, Shane?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's just senseless kind of death that does need to happen, and mostly, and it's a bit tough because the PFD or life jacket that you have on board doesn't do any good if it's sitting in the bottom of your boat or in a locker or something like that. You have to be wearing it. Part of the problem in the past is that some of the life jackets or PFDs were really bulky. And so it was very difficult for somebody on a hot summer day to want to put on this bulky jacket and wander around on their deck of their boat and really just kind of bake in the sun. So people got used to not wearing them. And I think we've got to slowly get back into that mindset that then there's lots of manufacturers out there that are making these very, very lightweight jackets. We're actually going to be bringing one that's really ultra lightweight as well. And you don't need to, you're not burdened by this any longer. So you can wear them comfortably in the hot sun. And then when they're on, they're going to protect you if you fall overboard. And that's the key thing, right? If you go into your water, you want to have one of these on.
And it was quite the, not quite the process, but a process to make sure that your build, your weight, maybe gender, married up properly to the type of life jacket that you could wear. With the product that you're bringing in, it's basically a one size fits all and fully adjustable.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing you want to look for in a PFD or life jacket. Um, they they want to have lots of adjustment around the waist. You also want to have, if it is an inflatable PFD, you want to make sure that there's crotch straps as well too, because if the jacket falls off and then it slides up, it's still going to protect you somewhat. It is going to be a lot more cumbersome in the water, and when you fall in the water, particularly in the colder temperatures that we have in Canada, you know, you want to be focused on getting back in the boat or saving yourself. You don't want to be fighting with your life jacket. So those cross straps are really important, but that ability to snug the jacket up, make sure it fits close to you, make sure it's comfortable. Those are all really important and things that you should be looking for when you buy your PFD.
What has been the response to this particular style of jacket since you started advertising here in Canada, Shane?
It's been really great. It's I think there's been a lot of things going for it. First, people are really starting to realize that tether mechanism is something that's really important. It's something that you want to start to consider, particularly those guys who are on larger boats and they're sailing offshores. But even the smaller boats where they're being tethered, they want that quality, and you want to be able to kind of move forward with something that you trust in the water. Um, we've also had a couple of things. I mean, these inflatable PFDs are ISO approved, which is the global standard for life jackets. So we're working on the Department of Transport approval now, um, and COVID has slowed us down quite a bit with that. But you want to make sure that it has a global recognition in terms of standard. US Coast Guard, Department of Transport, or ISO. The Canadian law is a little bit interesting. It actually has a lot of differences between life jacket and PFD. So in other parts of the world, that term personal flotation device or PFD doesn't really exist. They call it life jackets for everything. In Canada, we have a separation. So life jackets are really a product that is something that will always rotate you around, will always lift you up. And there's very, very strict requirements around what can be classified as a life jacket. Most of the products you buy on the market are PFDs, and those are personal flotation devices. But there's some, like the products we're bringing in, which really cross both of those lines in terms of life jacket to PFD, and that's why we're starting to see a lot of that, and other manufacturers are doing the same thing as well.
So, if someone would like to get some more information about the product, kind of neat story, folks. Shane actually lives on a boat, so he's living the dream, and really, I guess it speaks kind of highly that you folks are invested in not just doing a company to make a living and earning, but you're out there living what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, as a sailor, so the TeamO brand was our first product. We're going to bring in a lot of products from Europe and the UK. We're really looking at those high quality products. I think it's just one of those things that we only have a short period of time to use our boats in Canada and the US, and when we get out there, we want to make sure we have good stuff. It's got to work, right? So. So I really focused on just really looking at that high quality things, and we're going to be bringing more and more in. And the best way to look at that is on our website, which is indiemarine.com. And so that's INDIE marine and obviously .com. And that's the best place to see the products. And also you can reach out to us through the website as well too.
All right. Well, Shane, listen, thanks so much for bringing us some information about this really unique product, and look forward to chatting with you down the road.
Thanks a lot, Michael. Talk to you soon.